Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Happy Flag Day. Daniel, what we got today? Daniel's driving today because I don't have the remote control. Today's honors: song Bill Johnson, pledges Ken Reedy. That's you, buddy. Paul has the prayer, and I got the objects. So, Bill, what are we going to sing today?
We're doing Grand Old Flag.
Grand Old Flag, yeah.
There we go.
You're a grand old flag, you're a high-flying flag, and forever in peace may you wave. You're the emblem of the land I love, the home of the free and the brave. Every heart beats true under red, white, and blue, where there's never a boast or brag. Should old acquaintance be forgot, keep your eye on the grand old flag.
I pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
All right, let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this morning. God, I pray that you'll just be with us, help us honor you, glorify you. Be with me specifically as I talk about fatherhood. God, I know this can be a subject that can be good or bad as we think about our own fathers, God. But you are our Father that will never leave us or forsake us, God. You're the everlasting Father. So help us honor you this morning. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.
Amen.
Please join me in reciting the 6 permanent objects of Kiwanis. To give
primacy to the human and spiritual rather than the material values of life, to encourage the daily living of the golden rule in all human relationships, to promote the adoption and application of higher social, business, and professional standards, to develop by precept and example a more intelligent, aggressive, and serviceable citizenship, to provide through Kiwanis clubs by practical means to form enduring friendships, to render altruistic service, and to build better communities, to cooperate in creating and maintaining that sound public opinion and high idealism which make possible the increase of righteousness, justice, patriotism, and goodwill.
Very good. Guests, we typically have our guests stand one at a time and tell us who you are. So let's just start with this gentleman down here.
I'm Derek Hook. I'm here in Denton. Paul invited me to come here and speak.
Very good. Welcome, Derek.
Thank you.
I'm Mike Craig.
Nice to meet you, Mike. Who's our next guest? This young lady down here.
My name is Sherry Wava, and I work with Paul Community Services, and I work on the Focus Mothers side.
Oh, nice. Yes, sir.
Danny Miles, Paul.
Very good.
I'm Keith Sugar, I'm Paul's neighbor and just my pastor.
Nice.
Jeff Williams. I'm Paul's pastor.
You're doing a great job with this one.
Woods Hardy, this is my pastor and
Lynn Goodwin, Jeff's my pastor, Paul.
Very nice. Yes, sir.
Victor Reyes, Paul, excited to be here to discuss this topic.
Very great.
Jeff is not my pastor.
Paul, you brought more people than I've met in my life. So that's great. Thank you all, and welcome to all of you. Lottery. Norm, who's going to win today? Now the winner.
Lottery is flourishing. I'm going to ask this gentleman right here with the red cap. If he would
Go over there.
come right here.
Cut the cards.
Sir.
Pick a ticket.
For our guest, he's going to pick who gets to draw a card. If you draw the Joker, you win a pot, which is about $12.
You confused me.
But you split it with the club, so you get six.
Betty's not here, so she's not going to win.
Oh, I bought a ticket, didn't see my number.
The last three. 109. 109.
Gotta let it rip.
Last
It's rigged. It's
It's
rigged.
rigged. I like that.
Oh, I messed it up, Daniel.
No, you're fine. I'm probably gonna mess it up again here in a minute.
Nope, not this time.
We can go through it easy.
Oh, the deck's getting thinner. Okay, what's next, Daniel?
Give me a second. I'll get this thing fixed. And I will edit all this out.
Yes, sir.
Derek's father used to be a member of our club.
Is that right?
Okay.
Very nice.
Is that right? Yeah.
You need to carry on the tradition. You're welcome to join us. We do this every Wednesday. Now, it won't be Paul every Wednesday because that would get boring. But no, it wouldn't. That'd be fascinating. In fact, I'm going to run through these pretty quick to save more time for Paul. Today, June 14th, Denton Breakfast Club board meeting at St. David's Church. We all know where that's at. You don't have to be on the board to attend, to attend, and everyone's welcome. Next week, June 21st, Turkey Roll Committee meeting, 12:30 at North Branch.
North Branch Library, yes.
Okay, North Branch Library. For our guests, Turkey Roll is the bike rally you see just before Thanksgiving, blowing through Denton every November, and that's our main fundraiser. We use those funds to promote the high school key clubs here in Denton. Like last month, we were able to pass out $13,000 in scholarships. So that's our main fundraiser, and this is a good chance to invite all of you to get involved. We'd love to have you. We do this every Wednesday morning, and it's, what else are you doing at 7 o'clock Wednesday morning, right? So you're welcome to join us. We would love to have you. That's my commercial for today. 4th of July parade this year is the first. Last year was our first time to participate, so we've only got one first place trophy. But we're coming this year to pick up our second first place trophy. So you can come and join us and help us build that trophy, and then all of a sudden, you're a first place winner already. Right, Joe? So,
We need 8 people in the boat,
okay.
correct? 8 people in the boat?
Is that Coast Guard approved?
Well, it is fun.
Life jacket for everybody.
We're not in international waters.
Who's in the boat?
I'm in the boat.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Mark's in the boat whether he likes it or not because he's George Washington.
Yeah, he's the only one tall enough to be joined.
We need more people for the boat.
Yep.
We're doing Washington crossing the Delaware.
And it's gonna be great.
That's the boat that we're speaking.
What's that famous line on TV? We're gonna need a bigger boat.
We're gonna need a bigger boat.
No ice floats.
No, I thought it's not.
July 15th, quarterly trash pickup. The last time I did that was so much fun. I went home and dumped my garbage in George's yard, just to pick more up. So that's fun. We always have a good time. The teenagers have a blast. The teenagers can have fun doing anything. And watching them have fun makes it fun for us. So, join us for that. August 3rd through the 5th is the convention at Granbury. We've got a couple people signed up, a few people signed up. Sign up for that if you're not on vacation. That's a good thing to do. You can learn a lot about Kiwanis, and they have great ideas for fundraisers or for activities or just what we could do for our key clubs that we sponsor, things that we wouldn't necessarily think of.
Daniel, did you register?
Thousands
I
of
have
people.
not. I will.
You got to get ready.
I'm always the last one to sign up.
You to register.
Yeah, I'm always the last one.
And my last announcement, November 17th and 18th, is 41st Turkey Roll. Starts at Denton High School. We've been doing this for 41 years. 2 years ago, we had 1,002 riders. Last year, we had lots of rain and cold wind. We still managed to get 600 people. So
Yeah,
it's a big event. If you live in Denton very long, you see the 1,000 bicycles going through town. What else, Daniel? Is that it?
Well, I'm gonna grab the next one if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
So last week we went over to, if you don't know the cherry orchard in town, this is the cherry orchard. So we actually had our meeting out there. This is Ann and Judy, and I actually asked Ann and Judy to come speak to us, but they said, why don't you just come out to the cherry orchard? So we did, and we got out here. We got our key clubbers here. We've got other members, some people who are not members. This is my wife and my daughter here. We had sad news that the cherry orchard was going away that day. And they posted it, and if you have never been out to the cherry orchard, you missed your chance because the cherry orchard is no more.
Have they started taking them down?
Oh, yeah.
Sir, this is
It's
gone.
gone.
It's gone.
If you drive by there, the teeter-totter is the last thing that I saw out there. All of this, including the arch, there's a chair arch here, is gone. The big chair that's in the back here is gone, which was taken actually by the city. This library is gone. All of this is gone now. This is just really just an empty lot.
Kind of sad.
So
The
don't
next-
go.
Very
The
sad.
next day, there was a great obituary in the Denton Record Chronicle. The whole front page was just
Just
covered.
that.
Their ordeal.
Yeah,
That was,
and
that was Paul's
idea.
idea to put that in the Record Chronicle and put our picture, and they did everything but put our picture.
Yes.
Well, it had been written by the time we met.
Yeah, I don't
No.
think so.
No,
Actually,
they had
you
announced it.
let
They
us
didn't know.
about it.
They didn't know it was happening until we told them that it was happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what I wanted to come up in here and talk about it. So, but yeah, so all of this now, if you want to go by there, it is an empty lot with just some walking paths now. So
Very good.
Keith was out of town.
Yeah.
That was a fun meeting.
I hated to miss that. I was in Cincinnati.
It was sad, but it
Columbus.
was fun.
All right, Daniel, that's our last one, right?
We got anything?
Oh,
Any announcement
we
for
don't
the?
have any key club kids here. For our guests, sometimes we'll have 10 to 20 high schoolers here. And they're more regular in the winter because they gotta get up for school anyhow. Remember, when you were in high school, were you getting up at 7 o'clock to come here? Riley, no.
I think that they're not yet interested in fatherhood.
Right, exactly. They better not.
They may be afraid of it.
But these are the three schools that we're happy to sponsor, and the bike rally and the fundraiser that we have enables us to do that.
Ready?
Yep, ready. So Paul, it's your turn. Come on up.
So my plan is to leave 5 minutes for question and answers. So I will keep an eye on the clock. I know some of you guys got to go to work. So thank you guys for attending. I know I invited a whole lot of you guys, so I do appreciate you guys coming in as my friends, as my colleagues, a lot of BSF people, board member with First Refuge, people from church, from other ministries, neighbors, pastors, my pastor's here, so thank you guys for coming. It means a whole lot to me. Now, the subject that we're talking about is fatherhood, but we're talking about it through the eyes of what I get to do on a regular basis. So I was 7 years with First Refuge. September 1st was 7 years. And then so I took out the whole month of September, but about the middle of that month, I looked over at my wife and I said, and I was contemplating what to do next, and I said, what am I more passionate about than anything else? Well, I had been volunteering for the last 9 years to actually teach a class that I do here in Denton. And she, without missing a beat, said, Focus Fathers. And I said, yeah, I'm gonna give them a call, see if they'll hire me. So I gave them a call and they decided to hire me. So I get to work there and I get to work with a program called Focus Fathers. We get most of our referrals through the judges in the court system, through CPS, through CASA. Those are organizations that I get to work with here in Denton County. I oversee Denton County, Wise County, and Cook County. So I'm in the northern region. I work mostly from the house, but I also get to engage with the men and get them into our classes. These are men that CPS currently has their kids in most cases, or they're with family members or with foster parents. And what I get to do is get them into a class, and then I teach a class. We have 2 classes going on in Denton. One of them's on Monday night, one of them's on Thursday nights from 7 to 9, 2-hour class for 10 weeks. And we teach them both at First Baptist Church here in Denton. They let us go ahead and use their area. So that's what I get to do. I do the Focus Fathers program. We have another product that is called Focus Mothers, for the mothers, obviously. And Sherry Leva actually is the one that oversees the Denton stuff that's going on here. So she actually teaches the class at First Baptist Church Denton on Tuesdays, I believe, right? So she does the Focus Mothers. So I brought her just in case at the end we have any kind of questions. So what I thought I'd do is take you through some of the things that we do with the men. Obviously, it's 10 weeks, 2-hour classes, so I'm not going to be able to show you everything that we do. But there is some key things that we do that make a difference to the men. Week 1, is called Angry Week. That's what I call it, Angry Week, because men are there and they're thinking, who are you thinking that you can teach me what it is to be a father? You know, but by week 10, I've got some really good friends, you know, by the end of it because of the material and the curriculum that we teach. So, I do focus fathers, so I'm going to teach you guys and show you guys some of the things that we do in the program. So, Sherry, don't answer. So this is a circle of, what do y'all think?
Same.
Trust? No, that's Meet the Fockers.
Yeah, I know.
Circle of life? No, that's Lion King. That's Lion King. All right. This is actually circle of control. Now, I like doing that because I always get those answers. Say, you know, some people will say circle of love, you know, but they're usually from the 70s. This is actually the circle of control, and this is something that we all struggle with, you know, but specifically the men that are in our classes, they struggle with this. But this is something that we teach them and we show them, and it sticks with them, and it makes a big difference in their lives and the way that they steward their kids or their spouses and stuff. So we talk about all the things that you cannot control. Now I'm going to put some of them, and then I'm going to ask you guys some of them. But the men that are dealing with this, they cannot control CPS. They cannot control the police. They cannot control the judge. Right, Judge?
Right.
They cannot control taxes. Right? Our tax assessor is here. Cannot control the pastor. Right, Pastor?
I try to.
They try to. They can't control their doctor. Right, Doc? Cannot control the doctor. So you can't control your kids. Can't control your wife. Can't control your friends. Can't control your siblings. Can't control your boss. Can't control your co-workers. We actually go through this and we're able to fill it up specifically with everything you cannot control, like the weather. You cannot control inflation.
Traffic.
You know, so there's a whole lot of things that we cannot control. Give me a couple more we can't control.
Price of gas.
Gas prices.
Neighbors.
Traffic.
Neighbor.
Amazon spending.
I left that off. I can't control my neighbor, right, neighbor?
You can't control my wife's Amazon spending either.
Amazon. Yeah, so there's a whole heck of a lot that we cannot control. There is two things that we can control, and they both start with A. And this is what we teach the men, is that there's only two things that you can control. Brad, back there, what are the two things that we can control?
Your actions and your attitude.
I work on that. I will. So I've been mentoring Brad, and we've been meeting every week for a while now and stuff. So this is something that I go with men over a whole lot for sure, because this is a huge thing that we can only control our actions and our attitudes. But what happens is we try to control things sometimes without even realizing it. So there's things like our boss. It's a real easy to look and see, hey, we can't control our boss, but we try to, right? Now, this is a bit extreme, but we can't go and tell our boss, hey, I need you to give me a raise. Hey, I need you to give me better hours. Hey, I need a promotion. Can't tell our boss to do that, because it isn't going to work out really, really well when you're trying to control that. All right? So that's how it is with everything else. But there is a different circle, and this is a great circle, because this circle can expand. It can go out, and it can actually, touch every other thing that you do. It's a circle of influence. So influence. The thing is, with influence, the only way that we can actually have influence on people is by staying within the things that we can control. All right? So, when we are talking to our boss and we want actual raise or better hours or promotion, can we influence our boss? Yeah, we can. Why? Or how? We can do it by actually coming to work on time, being consistent in the things that we do, having a great attitude when we actually do come to work. So we can actually have influence on our boss. We can have influence on everything else, like CPS, our pastors, everything else, our neighbors. We can have an influence on every single thing that we have on here. All right, even the way that you deal with weather or time or traffic, you can have a great attitude about it and do other things as well. I like to listen to books when I'm actually riding around and stuff. So we can actually influence that. So what happens though is when we're trying to control things like our boss and the judge and CPS, we kind of look crazy, don't we? We kind of look, and that's the first word, is we look crazy. But we can look manipulative. Spelling doesn't count. That's why I'm a little bit messy, because I don't know how to spell some of the words and stuff. But we can look angry. We can look mean. We can look impatient. We can look unkind when we're trying to control things that we really cannot control. All right, but staying within the things that we can actually control, we can look a lot different. Instead of crazy, we can look peaceful. Instead of manipulative, we can actually look loving. Instead of angry, we can look kind. Instead of controlling, which I usually write on there, we can actually look self-controlled. Anybody recognize the things that we're putting out here? We can actually look joyful. Those are the fruits of the Spirit. And that's what comes out of it. The fruits of the Spirit comes out of staying within the things that you can control. So the biggest thing that we're actually trying to do with the men is we're trying to get it into their head that they can. And then their heart, which is their attitude. And then their hands, which is their actions. Into their head, into their heart, into their hands and feet. So we can actually affect the things that they're doing, and we can actually use scripture to actually do that. Now this is a big need, and I want to show you some of the stats that are on here. So dads are important. Children growing up without fathers face a greater risk and account for 90% of the homeless and runaway youth, 71% of high school dropouts, 63% of youth suicides. Now I know there's a whole lot of faith-based people in here, so let me show you. Now, this is a slide and this is numbers that everybody knows, all right? But we look at it and we go, this is too big, so we don't do much about it. But I'm telling you, the sons of God can do things about it. Show me the last slide. All right, when dads come to Christ first, 93% of the families will follow. 17% will follow when it's mom that comes first. When they both come, it's 3.5%. Now that is huge. Fathers are important as the leaders in the family, in the churches, in our communities, for the world. So that's why I do what I do. Now let me show you a video that kind of tells you a little bit more about it.
Watching the things you do. I'm watching the way you treat people. The way you treat me and my mom and my sister. The way you live your life is having a big impact on me. She's a career and provide for my family. But work ethic will be on my mind. The time you spend with me, even doing simple things, will give me a sense of security. There will be times in my life where I struggle with integrity. I may be not sure what to do. But I will recall how you stood up for what was right, even if you couldn't have looked the other way. I hope the choices you are making, I will also make. Please don't be afraid to show me your failures, to show me your mistakes. I will learn from them. Dad, are you listening? I'm watching. Watching to see if you really believe or you say I'm a God. I want you to help show me the way. Show me how to live like that isn't safe, but is good. So I'm watching you, Dad, every day. You're teaching me how to live, whether you know it or not.
The most consistent comment that I get in these fathers groups is that I just want my kids to be better than me. And the only way that happens is for you to be better than you. More is taught than taught. We can teach them all we want to, but they're going to do exactly what we do. Every little boy is going to grow up and act just like his father. That's the way that that's just the way that it's going to be. The biggest male influence in their life, actually. And then every little girl is going to grow up and they're going to marry someone just like the biggest male influence in their life. It should be their father. That should be powerful motivation for us to do what we should as men and fathers. You know, so a lot of the men that we actually deal with, we're actually dealing with exes, ex-girlfriends, ex-wives, and we actually talk about MOC. MOC is mother of children. So after week 2, when we talk about our mothers and we talk about the MOCs in our lives, we only refer to them as MOCs because we want to respect that position. So mothers are important. Fathers are important. When we ask the question, we have the men actually write these things out, but we ask them at the front of the class on a flip chart, what are traits and activities of strong mothers? And nurturing always shows up. But nurturing, loving, smart, spiritual, kind, hardworking, a nurse, a good cook, a referee, helps with the homework. These are always things that show up on the list. And then we ask about traits and activities of strong fathers, and these are things that always show up on the list: is brave, wise, humble, hardworking, protector, provider, play sports, coach. They're the guard dog. They fix things, hunting and fishing. Those are all things that show up on lists for fathers. So the way that we show it on how it works with mothers and fathers, they're both important. All right, and that's why we have the focus mothers, because we work with the mothers. But every little kid starts off at mom. You know, so they're in the belly for 9 months. You know, and then generally they're home with mom. You know, and even when moms and dads are both working, mom represents something. They don't ever ask dad, "Hey, what's for dinner?" They ask mom, "Hey, what's for dinner?" You know, but there comes a point in time where that kid needs to go out. And this is the way that you'll see it, is that when dad comes home, they're always really, really interested in what dads are doing. Dad, how did work go today? Did you make a sale? What did you fix today? Whatever it is, they're really interested in what we do as fathers. You know, so Mom is home plate. You know, that's home. And you can always go home with mom because that's the type of person she is. And that's exactly the way God created her. You know, to be that type of person. So every guy always puts the kids on the end of the table and they say jump and we always catch them. Or we throw them up and we catch them. Now, if they ever fall down, now dads never miss them, but whenever they do fall down, they don't scream for dad, they scream for mom. You know, because that's her role. That's what she naturally does. But there comes a time when they need to leave. Now, if this doesn't happen, because dad's not here, because dad always comes from the outside. They represent nature. Mom represents nurture. All right? So dads are always coming from the outside. They represent adventure. You know, so kids want to go out there, especially if they have a good relationship with their dad. The hunting and fishing and the different things that goes on, that's what they want to do. What happens is, if dad is not there, they stay home. And then you got you a 30-year-old that is sleeping in the basement playing video games all day long. You know? So dads and moms actually work together. You know, so we work together in making boundaries. So there's boundaries that we make up, like teaching them how to ride a bicycle, and then we tell them you can only stay in the driveway, or from this house to this house. And then it actually gets bigger. You know, so boundaries are really, really important, and we teach our kids because we're all together. What happens when that father is not there, they stay home, or they don't have anywhere to stop, and that's where addictions come in. That's what happens, is that you get too much of something that's good things, but way too much of it, and you don't know when to stop. So that's where addictions come in. All right, so I covered that. Let me cover this over here. Men already know what a good man is. What are 3 words for a real man? And we talk about things like, what do you want your kid to be later on? But these words of a real man shows up. Courageous, understanding, loving, humble, loyal, wise, kind, responsible, respectful, a man of integrity. And then we ask about media, social media out there, music, movies. How do they represent a real man? As strong, rich, successful, macho, sometimes simple. Sometimes they have lots of women, or they're dopey. You know, they're feminine, they're independent, and they're angry. You know, that's what they portray. So what we do is we ask the men, which one of these are you following the most? Which one of these are you actually practicing to actually be more of? Because our kids are going to be just like us. You know, so that's what we teach them, but we don't even have to actually teach them much. They already know those things. Now, one of the things that we've done is we've actually defined what a real man is. We think a real man is 4 different things. First, they are a servant, one who willingly serves the needs of his loved ones. A leader, one who carves a strategic plan worthy to be followed. A warrior, one who fights the right battle at the right time, the right way, with the right weapons, for the right reasons, and for the right people. And a companion, one who shares life with his loved ones, like dreams, like failures, like successes. Those are type of things that we need to share with our kids. So that's what we actually do. So first 3 weeks, week 3 is really, really important because we talk about our own fathers. We talk about the impact that our own fathers had on us and how that actually conveys to our kids in the way that we father. You know, so the biggest example that we have of a father is our father. But if we don't have our father in our lives, it is given over to the biggest male influence in our lives. You know, and sometimes we fail, obviously. We all fail. You know, there's only one father that doesn't fail. That's the only thing he can't do is fail. And that's our Heavenly Father, God. So that's actually who we actually represent when we're doing that. But we're trying to get it into their heads, into their hearts, and into their hands and feet in action. So the only thing that they can control their attitude, and their actions. So that's just a little snippet, really, really quick, of the things that I get to do on a regular basis. You know, and this is 10 weeks, so each one of these definitions, we actually spend quite a bit of time on the definitions and actually giving examples. We're really creative by doing commercials. We actually do movie clips from regular movies that you'll see out there. Anyways, just have a whole lot of fun. So I will open it up now to questions.
Paul, do you have a lot of people that are,
You told us once before, some of them are court order.
you have people that just
See the need and know they need this class and take it because they want to, because they know they need it.
Yeah, actually, I've got a guy right now that started coming on his own, and they're called self-pay, that started coming on his own. He just knew he needed it. And he's really excited right now because he thinks his marriage is actually going to survive. They actually already have this, the divorce papers. And now he's realizing that, hey, and then the MOC has actually called somebody else and said, hey, what's going on with him? He just seems different. Like, no, I haven't had an influence. I haven't done anything with him. I don't know what he's doing. But he told me that it was this class. So things like that happen on a regular basis. Week 3, we talk about our own dads. The biggest thing that happens is right after the class. So I'm supposed to call them every week. Right after week 3, I call them the very next day on purpose because I love to hear the stories. There's a lot of fathers that leave and they call their own father. 2 classes ago, I had a man that called his dad, that he had to find his number. He had to call somebody else to find his number, but he called him. He hadn't talked to him in 20 years. But because of that, now we go to the circle of control, and we do talk about forgiveness. And we talk about where is forgiveness on there? Is it something you can control or something you can't control? It is something that you can control, and that you should. We try to teach them. And one of the things my pastor taught me is that a lot of times you can't forgive and forget. It's really impossible to forget. But you can forgive and forsake, and that's actually in the marriage vows. Forsake those type of things. Those try to creep in and create bitterness. It's not really good for you. So we try to teach the men about forgiveness and really find out that there's three people you have to forgive: whoever did the offense, your father, and yourself. And you usually can't move on without that.
That was really my question is, can anybody tune in if they want to sharpen themselves as a father? Is that an option?
Yeah, so I've spoken at Southmont Baptist Church. I'm speaking this Friday at Lifegate Church. I would love to speak to groups of men. So I think the principles here, they're all biblical. They all come out of the Bible. That's how they were all created. And we can actually convert it back to the Bible and actually just go into churches and actually teach men how to be men, how to be fathers, how to be husbands. And that right there, I think we can make the biggest difference. But that's what we want to do. Any other questions?
I don't know if you can bring back up that slide about father coming first, 93%. That third one on the right, I don't understand that one.
That one is if both of them come to Christ together.
And so that's saying that only 3% of kids are going to come to Christ when both their parents come to Christ?
Well, actually, maybe I'm not understanding it.
I don't think that's what
Let me go back and look. Go ahead.
The way I look at that is the wife comes first.
The 17.
Yeah, and the husband is subject to her. Isn't that saying the kids are converted and the parents are not saved? That's kind of how.
Oh, maybe neither. That's right. That's probably what that means. Okay. If neither come to Christ, 3.5% of them come to Christ. Yeah, that makes sense.
So we just figured it out. That's exactly what we do in the men's groups is we figure things out together.
I totally get the one on the left, the father one, absolutely. And the other one, but when we said that one, I'm like, that doesn't make sense. But yeah, that's probably neither one of them come to Christ. Only 3.5 will.
Yeah, just to get. Well, what's the length of the course?
It is a 10-week course, 2-hour classes. from 7 to 9 p.m. We actually have Spanish classes. We also have daytime classes for the people, and those are online for the people who it doesn't work out for the work schedule. So we have daytime from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And then we have Focus Mothers classes that we do as well.
So is this locally in Denton, or you said you're employed through someone in Tarrant County, was it?
Yeah, so the ministry started in Tarrant County. We've been around for 26 years, but we do the classes here in Denton. We do them in Dallas, Collin County. We're actually in 27 counties. So we're pretty spread out.
So basically you're one of many of the coaches.
Yeah, there's probably, of the men, there's probably about 10 to 15 of us. I don't know. I mean, we do some online classes, and then we do, so the outlying counties, we do the online classes. So, but in person, we do them in Dallas, Collin, Tarrant, and Denton County only.
Is it a one-on-one, or is it
It's a class like this. So I started a new class on Monday. We had 11 people that were registered, and this next Monday we're going to take off. But I'm allowed to start people in week 2, so I've already added 2 more. So we will have probably about 15 men in the class, and out of those 15 men, we will probably have 8 or 9 that graduate. You have to make 8 out of 9 classes to actually graduate.
So what about the financials, and is there scholarship?
So CPS loves us and what we do, and they will actually pay for the men to actually go through the class for us, if they're CPS referrals. Yes, sir.
I'm assuming y'all are a nonprofit organization,
We are a faith-based nonprofit.
so where do you get your funding?
Yeah, so it's probably a longer conversation, but let me just tell you, one of the things that I was just telling Sherry is that we've stopped fundraising since 2019. We haven't had any events or anything. That's why I think that actually God brought me there, is because I do think that we can do events. We can get out here and do things like this. We need to be doing that, but we haven't been doing that. Anyways, kind of odd, kind of weird, but really I think what COVID did is it made grants a whole lot easier. So we're actually, dependent on grants. Now we do get government money. How CPS pays us for each person through every class that they go through, an amount, but that can't be sustainable. What we got to do is we got to be out there talking about fatherhood and this great product that we have. We do have people that have approached us from Washington telling us that they've looked at all the fatherhood programs and they think this is the very best, and they're willing to fund it. Now this year we're going through and collecting data, and then next year we're going to talk about them actually funding us for this program to roll it out to the whole country.
What's the cost for 10 weeks for an individual?
I don't know.
So a self-pay person.
It's the same cost, but I don't know what it is. Somebody does that backstage. Go ahead.
For the mothers, it's $400 total, and they can pay $40 per week and pay it out of payments of 80. I'm not sure if it's for the fathers the same.
All right, time for 2 more questions. One back here. Somebody had a hand.
I was gonna ask, is the goal for the program to be, not for just state mandatory, for like the fathers, the CPS, but for also just regular folks at one time as well? And then will those be separate, or will they all be collaborating to one class?
Yeah, so right now they're collaborating in these classes, but like I said, I want to go out there and be in the churches, and it's real easy for me to talk about fatherhood. My dad was in prison 3 different times, so he wasn't ever involved in my life. So I started repeating a lot of the same mistakes that he did. Thank God that the 3rd time he got out of prison, he was a born-again Christian. So that's why I'm a Christian, and that's why I get to invest in my kids and in my grandkids. We can change the trajectory of men's lives and affect the family, affect the churches, affect the community, affect the world. Last question.
Are you able to track this a year out, 5 years out?
Track what specifically?
Well, I'm not even positive. I know a positive influence on a father's influence on their children's lives.
Yeah. Short and most true answer is I don't know. I don't know. I know individual stories of people and in their lives, and that's what fuels me and keeps me going. But as far as on a broad range, the way that we're able to track it, right now this year, we're going towards something that is called evidence-based. So we are tracking certain things. We do pre-test and post-test, which is just surveys that we do to see how effective that this is. Actually, one more, Mike. My mentor, just so you guys know, we've been meeting for over 10 years, every Friday, you know, he knows everything about my life.
So I can see this 10 weeks being great, and then is there any follow-up? 'Cause then they're on their own in a way.
Yeah, so we have on the mom side and we have on the dad sides, they are called mentor navigators. And up to 6 more months, they actually will work with them, you know, with anything that's going on in their lives.
Paul,
All right?
You got this promoted or caused through CPS. Okay, so where are the other promotions that reach out to persons that are not involved with CPS?
Yeah, I would say things like this, you know, so I invite people to things like this. So there's not really a whole lot of structure except that we're actually in the churches. Our classes are actually in churches, and we want to be in other churches. Okay. So we've got a grand plan, but, or I've got a grand plan. Now, I'm not running the ministry yet, but I do have a plan that I am going to be running the ministry. And then we are going to be doing things better. So I do trust God in the things that He does and allows me to do.
Got people looking over their shoulder now.
Yeah.
You're not running yet.
Well, yeah, we've had some weird stuff happen. The second person in charge of our ministry died. The first person in charge of our ministry this year got diagnosed with terminal cancer and it metastasized stage 4. You know, so he had to resign about a month ago. You know, so
How you feeling, sure?
I'm feeling good.
Paul, thank you very much. Great program. Great program. You know what this is, and you know how hard you work for it, but our guests don't know. For our guest speakers, we give away a collectible mug. I know you've probably seen them around town. Denton Breakfast Kiwanis, and our slogan is Rebuild. And the most important thing is come join us. So that's an open invitation to all of you. And Paul, this is for you, just to add to your collection. You're going to have more than I do. When I run out, I'm going to call you and say, Paul, I need more mugs.
I'm actually going to give this to Sherry.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Great program. And for our guests, we have interesting. Now, Paul's program is life-changing, so it's one of a kind. But we do have very interesting guests. We've had the Denton Spider-Man. We've had Gary Weiland. He was great. I still don't know what he looks like because he came in costume and left in costume. But we have the Chief. What's that?
We had a Ninja Warrior.
We had a Ninja Warrior. Yeah. That was.
He was just back on there.
I was at his watch party. And he goes. What's that, Bill?
Gary's gone on to the.
Yeah, Gary Weiland. If you're familiar, he's the firefighter here in town that lost half of a leg. And now he's a Ninja Warrior. He was on network TV for the second time this past Monday, and he advances to the next stage. So we're following his career. And we've had the chief of police, the fire department. We've had lots of interesting speakers, and we'd like to have all of you join us every Wednesday morning, or Wednesday mornings you can make it. And just sometimes I come and say, Daniel, who's speaking today? And he never says you, so I'm always happy.
Speaking of that, next week.
Oh, who is next week?
We have the Denton Chamber of Commerce is coming to talk to us.
Oh, okay, very good. So you've always wondered what in the world they do. Come, we'll find out together.
Yeah.
So, all right, thank you all very much for coming.